And the National Intelligence Agency says the government should continue to appreciate Nigerians who have played significant roles in nation building through positive global representation. The NIA Director General Ahmed Rufai Abubakar disclosed this at a meeting to honor retired Nigerian career ambassadors in Abuja. Arise correspondent Punariman Benjamin tells us more.
At this meeting to honor Nigerians in the diplomatic service who have distinguished themselves in outstanding and exemplary ways before retirement, there is a call for the government to continue to support those promoting the country's diplomatic and foreign engagement. Majority of the awards were given posthumously to those who served the nation but received by family members and friends.
My dad died exactly 55 years ago, so it's a great privilege that he's been remembered today, 55 years later. It's not often that you find Nigeria, recognizing people so many years after. So it makes me really happy.
A top official of the Association of Retired Career Ambassadors of Nigeria is urging the country to emulate the virtues of these career ambassadors who have sacrificed for the nation despite the challenges with foreign service.
What we are missing out, partly leadership, partly values, partly the absence of mentors with integrity. Those are the real things we are missing out.
A key highlight of the event is the award given in honor of the founder of the National Intelligence Agency, Muhammad Lamido Sanusi, who is the father of the former Emir of Kano State. He is described as the father of the Nigerian Secret Service.
For the NIA, this year's award are particularly special as the first and last directors of Directorate of Research Department, DRD, which is the precursor of the agency, are among the awardees. And I'm talking about Ambassador M.A. Sanusi, who can be legitimately described as the father of Nigeria's external service, or rather, or in other words, Nigeria's secret service. And Ambassador Lamin Metedin, who led to raise the DRD and ushered in the era of the NIA.
It is a great honor for me and for all the members of the families of those who have been honored today. I have grown up in my life as a son of the Foreign Service. Many of the names that we see today are fathers to me. Many of those that are here are fathers well known to me. I still have fond memories of my father taking me to Apapa to visit Ambassador Leslie Harriman.
The retired career ambassadors say the recognition and words will help to build confidence in those Nigerians that are quietly and secretly serving the nation in the foreign service. Punarman Benjamin, Arise News.
Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined in the studio by the first Vice President of the Association of Retired Career Ambassadors of Nigeria, Ambassador Joe Keshi, who is also Nigeria's former consul to the United States. So good to have you here. Just tell us a bit before we go into general issues, why it's been difficult for, people who have served Nigeria very well in the foreign service to be known by, even by the Nigerians that they served. Way up until you had to decide to set up this group, Association of Retired Career Ambassadors of Nigeria, and then even trying to honor them, because it looks like even the government that they serve had forgotten about them.
Well, that is the honest truth, and that also happens to be the underlying factor why we decided that we need to honor these gentlemen. And more especially because many of them were mentored us in the service, and we can speak of we can speak a lot, about them and what they did to shape our career. But more especially because we also recognize that the country has not paid enough recognition to these men and women who did tremendously, who gave tremendous service to this country. Look, Our foreign policy, Nigeria's diplomacy matured during the Civil War. And some of the people we honored this week were architects of that success, abroad. A few of them are still alive. They're in their 80s and their 90s, but who remembers them? In fact, in a particular instant, a state was honoring its people. I actually had to plead. I'm not even sure that the gentleman knows that I was behind talking to the people in that state. That is sort of a prominent son. No, there's nobody in this with the kind of CV or personality that he has. But it was like, oh, who is he? What are things like
so
that.
even those in authority don't know so much about him.
Those in authority don't really know. So we just thought that, listen, we need to remember these people. We need to honor them in recognition, not just for the service, but also the fact that they did a lot for us, collectively and individually, but also to set example for some of the people in the diplomatic service of Nigeria today that, look, this is a service with tremendous, great history. It has seen great men and women who helped to build this nation, and that we want to use that to also inspire the people coming after us.
Yeah, much of the work that you usually do is done, behind the curtains.
Sure.
And so a lot of Nigerians don't know so much about what you do. The Nigerian people.
No. But the leaders that they serve, the leaders we serve, they know. And so when it's time to do this, this national honor, nobody remembers them. I even know that the permanent secretary, retired permanent secretary, they are say coffers, it's equally fighting that a lot of their permanent secretaries, some of them very distinguished, have not been recognized or honored in this country. And it's also, in some climate, as soon as you have become you are appointed ambassador, career ambassadors, you are given a national honor outright.
For your service to the people.
For your service,
Okay. We hope that will continue. But I was interested in one thing, the NIA, the establishment of the National Intelligence Agency. I heard from there that it used to be a research department in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs before it eventually emerged as a separate agency. I just want you to talk to us a little about that.
I think it was, look, every nation has this National Intelligence Agency. And as we continue to grow, I think it was in 1983, under the Babangida administration, that a decree was signed, which created, I think, both the NIA, the DSS, and I can't remember, And so the research department was, taken away from the ministry, and it's grown tremendously. It become a big agency, doing great work for the nation. It's important that we recognize the work of the agency and why it is very important. There are two things. There is some information that diplomats can get. There is certain information that, look, we can't get. And so you needed these agencies to be able to do some covert operation, not operations really, but covert sniffing around in order to be able to get,
because debriefing,
because you get these things in order to be able to either protect your own national interests, or it enables you to know what others are thinking, and in that way you form a kind of broad policy. That broad policy that enables you to be able to defend your own national interest.
Okay. Now let's go on to the politics of Nigeria. We've seen presidential candidates emerging, and little is being said of their foreign policies. The bigger parties, though campaigns are yet to begin, but what will you say about the plans for their manifestos and so on how they can properly size Nigeria up and get very good foreign policy input into that? I want to start with your assessment of them first before we get into that.
Well, look, we've read a few on of what they had to say about foreign policy, but the truth that we must recognize is that even in past elections, foreign policy did not feature much. And we at ACAN, we're actually looking at how we can bring foreign policy into the conversation. So we are strategizing among ourselves, and we're trying to reach out to the top candidates. Again, we do not have the resources to take, how many presidential candidates now, 17 or?
Yes.
Look, we're a serious organization, and diplomats are always a serious people, and we don't waste our time on
frivolities,
the frivolities and irrelevancy. So we are thinking of bringing 3, 4, 5 of the top candidates, if they will agree, to come and have a conversation, not a debate, have a conversation on foreign policy, in the hope that we can inject foreign policy into, the conversation, because everybody seems to forget that there's a nexus between foreign policy and domestic policy, and that when they condemn our foreign policy, or Nigeria is not doing this, or Nigeria is not recognized, or the diplomats are doing this, it is because of what transpires or what is going on at home. If you have a very sound economy, if you have a very strong military, if you have values that people can be proud of, and you pursue those values domestically, definitely you feel the confidence, and you have the ability to be able to project those values into your foreign policy. And of course, people will respect you. I give you a good example that I like to cite. We travel extensively in this country looking for foreign investors. But there are some countries, they've never spent a penny to look for foreign investors. Why? Because they've created that environment that wherever you are, people just, businessmen and women all over the world, once they know that they're making money in a country A, and that the laws of that country, it's good, they respect international agreement, the economy is doing very well, the people are friendly, they will come. And of course, domestic investors, nationals, are investing in that economy. They would come. You don't have to waste your money traveling all over
and all of that.
all over the world. I cannot. Let me just tell you this story to make the point. When I was in Atlanta, I took the then governor of Abia State, Orji Kalu, to Alabama, and we went. The part of the lesson was to see the governor of the Speaker of Alabama, and we went. They were having a session, and when they had the break, he came out and he said to us that, look, he can only give us 5 minutes. And that within that 5 minutes, he was also signing a document for his staff. Yeah. And then when he finished, he said, okay, where are you from? And then the governor started telling him. Now, there was a business partner of the governor who has just gotten, I think, about 14 million to do a voucher or something like that for all this company. And in the course of discussing this, the Alabama man was introduced, and it was made clear, the man now told the governor that he got so much so, and that the boat or the barge is being built in Alabama. The governor got out from his seat, walked across, took her and said, where did you say you're from again? Almost immediately, the conversation changed. From 5 minutes, we spent 45 minutes.
Wow.
So this is part of what, so when you have a conducive environment, and in terms of dealing with the global world, the laws are respected. Not you sign an agreement today, as we've been saying, and tomorrow you
especially when there's a change in
government. Yes, you repudiate the agreement, and nobody honors the agreement. No, nobody would come in here, or there's insecurity in your country. And every time you open the website of a lot of missions in Nigeria, go to their website. You see all the warnings.
Yes.
About coming to Nigeria. Yes. So if you are looking for where to invest,
even to the country itself.
Yes. Somebody says, "Oh, Nigeria is a very rich country. You can make good money from Nigeria," and then you go to the website. You see what everybody has written, you won't come.
Because, okay. So now, you haven't seen the presidential candidates of the party, starting from APC, the ruling party, Bola Tinubu, PDP with Atiku Abubakar, Labour Party with Peter Obi, and then, of course, NMPP, Kwankwanso, and then it goes on with ABGA, and then other political parties. How do you think, how do you measure them in terms of foreign policy, having engaged with them previously or had them previously, and how do you think that your group, Arkan, can help engage them to see the need to help rebuild the image of this country abroad?
Well, that's what I said earlier, that we are having a conversation, and I think we are going to reach out very soon to some of the leading candidates.
Yeah, but I'm interested in your own assessment,
yes,
individually, of this.
Well, you see, let's start from the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. I believe that he should have, in terms of foreign policy, some edge, in the sense that he's been a vice president, he's represented the president in a number of international engagements, and he has friends also abroad, so he understands and is very well should be at home with the issues, notwithstanding the fact that the world which he operated in as vice president has changed dramatically, you know, and so on. In comparison between Tinubu and Obi, Tinubu has traveled also extensively, you know, but when you look at the CV of both, Obi seems to have been one that has been more involved in engaging the business community. So you probably see a situation that if you have an experienced Atiku because of his past role, you now have an Obi with a business acumen that has, I mean, a typical example of what he did the last time, which I think most people they did not grab the impact. He's
going to Egypt.
Yes, he's going to
study there, like
yeah, he's going to Egypt.
Like
so you could see that if he becomes president, he's probably going to work with Egypt one way or the other in order to be able to see whether we can benefit from what...
It wasn't a high-profile visit.
Yes,
if we were to look at it diplomatically,
no,
I mean, the president, he didn't visit the president.
It doesn't have to. You see, this is the point. You don't have to visit the president. But immediately you become president and you signify your interest in that thing, you will see the enthusiasm of the Egyptians too.
But doesn't that say much about his diplomatic, I mean, foreign credentials, if he's going to such a country and it's lower level officials that he's meeting?
See, one of the problems of leadership in this country that we must all recognize is limited exposure of our leaders. And this is not just presidents or members of the House, it cuts across board. And that is why I have this mantra I do say and joke with my friends, particularly my children. I keep saying, if you do not know what to do, watch television. If you watch television in a day, you learn a number of things. And so, if our leaders are properly exposed, very well exposed, very well knowledgeable, I honestly would believe that some of the things they do in this country, they will not be doing it.
Okay, as we try to round off this conversation, let's talk about the ongoing CHOGM. A lot of Nigerians are wondering why we still are so much interested in this commonwealth thing, that we don't seem to be deriving a lot of benefit from it. President Buhari is currently in Kigali at the moment, joining others. What do you think we can derive benefit from this issue of CHOGM?
You know, we in this country we are very fond of saying we want to derive benefit from everything we engage in.
Yeah, because people already say that the president is traveling too much.
No, I think that what I believe we should do with the Commonwealth is to return back to the Commonwealth that we knew of before, that was useful to us, particularly in the areas of health and education. You know, a number of Nigerians benefited from the Commonwealth scholarship. A number of Nigerians were trained in the health sector, you know, by some Commonwealth funds. And look, they did a lot of things in those days. Now, I think that the role or Commonwealth impact in Africa in particular is no longer being felt. And if they can go back to those days, that Commonwealth meant something to the people of this
especially when it has to do with sanctions. I remember how they were helpful to Nigeria,
yes,
ensuring that they kicked against dictatorship, bad governance,
and now they're not even talking much about that. I've been listening to the speeches being made. Of course, it's the health session when I was
the
waiting,
one on against malaria.
But I just believe that what they need to do is to take a look at what happened, in the days gone by, and try and recreate that relationship that connected us, to one another, in the sense that, look, today, I believe that we need to do a lot in the area of education. We need to do a lot in the area of science and technology. Now, when we had independence and the Commonwealth was very effective, they did a lot in these areas. And I just think that if they go back to this, it will become, again, people will see the relevance of the Commonwealth at the end of the day.
And finally, what will you say of President Buhari's foreign policy engagement here and there? I mean, this government is going to be rounding off its second term next year.
Well,
just very quickly, in 60 seconds, how do you think it's fared?
Well, I just think that, I think one of the things that must be said, the truth of the fact that Nigeria as a country remains very much respected around the world. Again, because it's Nigeria. Now, but whether this regime has really projected the image of the country as other regimes have done, and whether the president has been effective in engaging the rest of the world. Look, there's one thing for you to travel, which people don't realize. It's not enough for you just to travel. It's enough that when you get in there, you make an impact. It is this lack of impact in all these travels, and I think I was listening.
I mean, our FDI
I was listening to your reporter who says that the president was supposed to make a speech yesterday or early this morning. He did not. He was supposed to speak on this malaria thing. He did not. Nobody has said what the problem.
Well, there was an official that eventually spoke because we learned that.
Exactly. So the point is, They've maintained, they've done the best they can. That's all I can say, But
very quickly, we've seen the FDI plunging under this government. Nigeria's foreign,
what has not plunged under this government?
Well, we just hope to have this conversation much more another time, because I really want to pick your what do you think about this government's success in terms of the Minister of Foreign Affairs engagement? When he came in, there were lots of expectation of what he will do and not do. But unfortunately, it looks like we haven't seen so much happening. But we must thank you so much. Ambassador Joe Keshi.
But I know before you sign also, I know you have it, but you must also understand that at the end of the day, the president is really the foreign minister.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've been told that we've overshot the wrong way. I'll bring you back some other time to fully assess the government.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Joe Keshi, who is the first vice president of the Association of Retired Career Ambassadors of Nigeria and Nigeria's former consul to the United States. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Son Nasambo.